Hi, my name is Michael Geddes. As a professional guitar teacher, I help many of my students purchase their first guitar, and I know what an exciting experience that can be for a new guitar player. If you don't have a teacher or someone knowledgeable that will go to the music store with you and it's your first time buying a guitar, you could probably use some advice and information to help you avoid problems that first-time buyers or parents buying guitars for their kids often find themselves with. Fortunately today, many companies offer great student guitars at extremely affordable prices. Here's the thing though, no matter what a guitar costs, $100 or $10,000, new or used, there can be serious problems with the instrument. This video will help you spot some of those problems. So one of the first things you can become aware of if you're purchasing a new guitar is that so-called new guitars may have been hanging on the store wall for months and picked up and played by hundreds of people. So just because an instrument is being sold as new doesn't mean that there are not problems with the instrument. And if a new guitar has existing problems, those problems are probably just going to get worse. Also, you may find a guitar that you really like, but you've noticed it's been played a lot. There's certain marks on the guitar that indicate that. And you can ask the salesperson if they have any brand new guitars of the same model in the back room in their storage facility. A lot of times they will. Sometimes they don't want to get it because they want to sell the one that's on the wall naturally. But you deserve to have a brand new guitar if it's being sold as new. And a lot of times they will have the same model that's never been touched, that still has the plastic wrapping around the body, and it's just pristine. And that may be the guitar that you want to tune up, have them tune it up, bring it out, and sit down and try that and see how that guitar feels compared to the one that was on the shelf. Now, if you decide to purchase your guitar online, be sure that you have a 30-day return policy, which includes return shipping. Most online music stores have that policy. This way, when you get the instrument, you can check it yourself using the information you're going to learn on this DVD or this video, or you can have a more experienced player, a friend of yours that knows how to play, or your guitar teacher give you the okay. That way, if he finds or you find there's something wrong with the instrument, you can send it back and get your money refunded or buy another instrument. If you purchase your guitar from a local music store, that 30-day option is also a great option for the same reasons. Okay, so you've made it to the music store. You're in the guitar section, the acoustic guitar section, and you've seen this beautiful guitar. It really pops out at you. Your salesperson has taken the guitar and he's played it, and it sounds beautiful. It has a nice bass sound and a nice treble sound. It's nice and bright and full. Now it's time for you to sit down and see how the guitar feels on you. So take a seat, and you're going to want to put the guitar, the waist part of the guitar, on your right leg. And this part of the guitar, the shoulder part, should rest nicely against your chest, and you're going to want to pop the guitar out a little bit at the bottom so you can see what you're doing here eventually when you start playing. And this part of your elbow goes in this area, your right elbow goes in this area of the guitar, and your right hand, whether you're using a pick or your fingers, should fall in this general area right here around the sound hole and the ornamental circle that goes around the sound hole. Your right hand should fall very naturally in that area, okay? And if it's up here too far, or if it's back here too far, chances are you need a different size guitar. So once again, your elbow resting here, your right hand should fall generally in this area right there. And sit for a couple minutes and see how the guitar feels on you. Now, when you're purchasing a guitar for a child from 6 to 9 years old, ask your salesperson to show you a half-size guitar or a 3/4 size guitar. Half-size guitar is half the size of a full size. 3/4 size guitar is 3/4 the size of a full-size guitar. Kids from 6 to 7 might feel more comfortable and at ease playing a half-size guitar. From 7 to 9 or 8 to 9 may feel more comfortable in playing a 3/4 size guitar. have them sit with the guitar. You can sort of see how they feel with the guitar. Have them go through the same process I went through with the adults buying a guitar in the last clip. And you can get a sense of whether the guitar is too big or too small for them, if your teacher doesn't accompany you. Also, both size guitars come with steel strings or nylon strings. The nylon strings may be a little bit more easy for them to play. Have them come up and participate, get them involved, ask them to see which strings they like better. Have them put their fingers on the nylon strings and see if they like that one better, or the steel string, which one they prefer. I find when a student is ready to play, a young child is ready to play, they're ready to play, and it doesn't make any difference whether the strings on the guitar are steel or nylon. If you can, ask your teacher to accompany you buying your child's guitar, as you buy your child's guitar. I find that a real joy. I get a big kick out of helping my students buy their guitar, and a good teacher will be able to sit down with a child and see if that guitar fits the child or not, along with checking out the guitar for any other problems that it might have. So if you can bring the guitar teacher, your guitar teacher with you, that'll be a great advantage to you and save you a lot of time and probably money in the long run. The next thing you can do is to pick your guitar up like this and look across the top of the guitar. This is called the face of the guitar. And you're going to look across the top, close one eye maybe, like this, and you're looking across the top. Get at that angle where you can see the ripples and the different movement in the guitar, if there is any. Hopefully there isn't too much. Now what happens is the strings have a tendency to pull the bridge, which is attached to this part of the guitar, and make this part of the guitar come up, and this part here to the on this side of the bridge, it makes this side sink a little bit and valley. So what you have is a kind of a hill here with a guitar that's moving a lot or too much. You have a guitar with a hill here and a valley here. And you'll see that on this guitar a little bit, but this guitar is quite old. So naturally there's going to be some movement in this guitar, but you don't want too much. If you're buying a used guitar, you want, you'll see a little bit, but you don't want too much. With a new guitar, it should be very flat here and very flat here on this side of the bridge. If you see movement with a new guitar, it means that it's moving already and it's probably going to keep moving. I've seen 30-year-old guitars that are absolutely flat on the top. So keep an eye on that, on the movement. Look across the top for any kind of rippling effects or wave effects. You don't want a whole lot of movement, especially in a new guitar. Also, as you're looking, make sure the bridge is securely glued to the face of the guitar. Once again, the strings have a tendency over a period of time to bring the bridge forward and separate it from the face of the guitar. So kind of maybe even put your fingernail down there and make sure that it's kind of glued down there nice and secure. And of course, this goes without saying, look at all parts of the guitar, the face, and check for cracks. There's two different kinds of cracks in a guitar. There's a finish crack, which is the finish cracking, the finish that goes over the wood. That cracks, and then there's also cracks like I have on my guitar that are actually wood cracks. You want to be very careful of wood cracks. Finish cracks are not quite as important. But look over the seams of the guitar. You'll see that my guitar has had a lot of wear and tear to it. Look at the seams where anything is glued, where the neck is connected to the heel of the guitar. Make sure that there's no separation and that there's no major cracks in any part of the guitar, the main body of the guitar. Let's move to the neck area of the guitar, and I'll show you some things to watch out for. You want a guitar that plays as easy as possible, and that's called the action of the guitar. If the action is too high, it's too difficult to play. The strings are too high from the fretboard, and it takes too much energy to press down each fret and the fingers as you play. If it's too low, if the action is too low, or if the strings are too close to the fretboard, you'll get kind of a chafing sound and the strings won't be clear and they'll be buzzing against the fretboard, and that's not good either. But I measured the distance between the fretboard and my strings on my guitar, and at this point it was about 2/16 of an inch, and up here about maybe over an eighth. It gets a little higher as you go up the neck. So I think the best bet is to have your salesperson demonstrate the guitar for you and ask, say, I want you to be sure that the action of this guitar is as close as possible for a beginner and appropriate for a beginning guitar student. You can't be fighting the action on the guitar all the time. It's hard enough to play the guitar when the action is perfect. Have him play. You can listen to the tone on the guitar that way as well. Have him play, especially in this area. The notes should be clear, and in this area, the notes should be clear and not the strings. You'll hear, when the action is too low, you'll hear the strings chafing against the fretboard. You'll notice that if you listen carefully. So, once again, the action is the distance between the fretboard and the strings, and it should be low enough so that you don't have to fight the guitar. Now, the first thing I do when I find a guitar I really like, especially when I'm helping my students buy that guitar, is I pick up the guitar and I look down the fretboard on the edge, on the line that runs here, right there, and then on this side as well, the line that runs here. Not the whole face of the fretboard, but just that edge. And on my guitar, for example, right now, there's a bit of a valley in it, and that's the way it should be. If it's straight, the strings will be chafing, like I was talking about in the last clip. So it should be a little valleyed out there. There should be a little bit of relief, is what they call that, in the fretboard, but not too much. Okay? And that also determines the action of the guitar. If there's too much of that bow or relief, it's going to be more difficult to play, especially up in this area, because that's where the relief happens the most, in the middle of the neck. So keep an eye on that. Learn how to look down that fretboard, the edge of the fretboard on each side with one eye closed. It's not flat. There's a little bit of a relief or valley in that line that goes there, that goes along the top of the fretboard, and that should not be flat, but a little bit of a relief in there as well. And if there's too much, you either want to have the salesperson have that adjusted out so that it's flatter, or put the guitar back on the shelf and look for another one, because if there's too much relief in there, and it's a new guitar, there's problems happening already. So this just about concludes the how to buy a guitar video. Before I end, I want to tell you a little bit about buying an electric guitar. So when you're buying or purchasing an electric guitar, either an acoustic guitar or a solid body or a semi-hollow body electric guitar, some of the extra things you can look for is, of course, plug your guitar into an amplifier before you buy it, and make sure that the electrical components in your guitar are working properly. So where you plug the jack into the guitar from the amplifier, make sure there's no rattling. If there's rattling, that means that there's loose connections somewhere that need to be looked at or repaired. Also, with an acoustic electric, you'll find a lot of the controls in this area of the guitar. Make sure the EQ is working and the volume is working. If there's an electric onboard tuner, make sure that that's working. A lot of times those fail and need to be replaced. If you're playing a regular electric guitar, make sure the control knobs are not dirty and making noise as you turn them left to right. Make sure that the pickups are all working. Have your salesperson or the person you're buying the guitar from demonstrate each pickup and make sure that the pickups are working. All of the other issues when you're buying an electric guitar will be the same as I've discussed earlier in this video. So I hope you found this video informative, and that it just adds to the experience you're going to have getting out there buying your first guitar. Buying a guitar from me or my students is always a great experience. My name is Michael Geddes. I hope you join me at some point for private lessons. Until then.